Hi, I'm Rabbi Alon Ferenczi, speaking to you from Haska Emunah Synagogue in Knoxville, Tennessee, returning to a series of midweek Torah talks to get you ready for the Torah reading, the section we read about to come. We're reading towards the end of the book of Numbers this week, the story or the aftermath of the story of Pinchas, who slew someone engaged in illicit behavior, ran a spear right through them. It's hard to read about violence in the name of God. It's something we might wish were not part of our tradition. And so this week, I, like some rabbis before me, will try to read against the grain. We know, among other things, in the rabbinic tradition, that Pinchas is either equal to or associated with Elijah. Both of them are described as being persons of zeal. So much so that Elijah is the saint connected to the experience of Brit Milah, the ritual circumcision, a mitzvah, a commandment that ought to be observed zealously and candidly and directly. Elijah, in a complementary prophetic reading this week, is described as being moved by passion. Our teachers, among them Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, writing a couple of centuries ago, suggest that one ought not to be passionate, nor zealous or jealous in that way. A righteous person is not jealous of any other righteous person, but only jealous to behave as God would, should, and might. The righteous person is jealous of God's capacity for goodness and justice. Likewise, he notes in this experience of Pinchas this week in the Torah reading, what Pinchas was in effect doing was removing the necessity for God to punish the transgressors by taking it upon himself. Again, a dangerous precedent, a precedent of religious zealotry concluding with murder and violence and outgroup slaying. Not something we want to consider in this world, but perhaps the lesson is, at some level, that justice is ultimately God's, and we can only approximate God's understanding and God's will. That mixed in with that zealotry that Pinchas displays ought be some humility. That our knowledge, our wisdom, ought not put us above any other fellow human being, but ought only be used in passion to arrive at God's true judgments. And frankly, such judgments we can never absolutely know for ourselves. Thereby, perhaps Pinchas's zealotry is an exception that proves the rule. That there was once a time when one might know God's will and behave accordingly, even unto violence. But we ought be more careful in our day and age. Shabbat Shalom. If you enjoy this talk and others like it, please do like, share, and subscribe to Eclectic Cleric on YouTube. God bless.